Right now, somewhere in your yard, weeds are winning. And the worst part is not the weeds themselves. The worst part is the system that keeps you losing to them every single summer. You pull them in June, they are back in July. You spray them in August, they return in September. And every single year, the garden center is right there waiting for you with another jug of herbicide, another bag of landscape fabric that breaks down in 18 months, and another flat of annuals to fill the bare soil that weeds love more than anything else in the world. Bare soil is a weed invitation, and as long as you keep leaving it open, they will keep showing up. There is a better way, a permanent way, and it has been growing in botanical gardens and smart home landscapes for decades, while the big box stores kept it quietly off the main display floor because it does not need to be replaced. Ever. I'm talking about ground covers. Living, spreading, breathing carpets of plants that lock down your soil so completely that weed seeds cannot germinate, cannot find light, cannot establish. No chemicals, no fabric, no kneeling in the dirt every other weekend when your back is already sore from everything else life asks of you. Later in this video, I am going to show you one ground cover that is so aggressive, so beautifully ruthless that it can colonize a full 10 by 10 foot area in a single growing season from just 3 small starter plants. But before we get there, you need to understand why this information is not being handed to you at the checkout counter. The garden center business model depends on selling you solutions to problems that never fully go away. Weed Killer is a perfect product because weeds always come back. Landscape fabric is a perfect product because it always eventually fails. A ground cover that spreads itself and lives for 30 years is a terrible product from a retail perspective because once you plant it, you never need to buy it again. You might even give divisions away to your neighbors for free. That is the opposite of what keeps the lights on at a nursery. So they stock it in small quantities, tuck it in the back corner of the perennial section, and hope you walk out with petunias instead. If you are tired of being on the losing end of that arrangement, subscribe to The Honest Gardener right now. The YouTube algorithm actively buries practical money-saving content like this in favor of expensive makeover videos. Subscribing is the only way to make sure you see it. Now, 9 plants, all of them spread, all of them suppress weeds, all of them come back year after year without you doing a single thing to make that happen. Creeping phlox is one of the most spectacular plants in American horticulture, and it is treated like a footnote at most nurseries. In mid-spring, usually April through May, depending on your zone, it covers itself so completely in flowers that you cannot see the foliage underneath. Solid sheets of pink, white, lavender, or deep magenta, cascading over walls, spilling down slopes flowing between stepping stones, and then for the other 10 months of the year, it sits there as a dense, evergreen mat that gives weeds absolutely no foothold. Zones 3 through 9, drought tolerant once established, deer resistant because of its slightly sticky foliage texture. One flat of 9 small plants, which typically costs around $25 to $30, will cover approximately 12 square feet in its first year and expand from there every single season. By year 3, that original investment has become a weed-free ground cover worth well over $150 if you priced it at nursery rates. Divide it in early fall, pot up the divisions, give them to neighbors, or fill a new area of your own yard for nothing. Ajuga, which most people know by its common name bugleweed, is the plant I promised you at the beginning. This is the one that moves. The variety Catlin's giant sends out horizontal runners in every direction simultaneously, and under good conditions, a single plant can claim 2 to 3 square feet of new territory in one growing season. Plant 3 of them 18 inches apart in spring, and by the following May, you will have a solid, unbroken carpet. It blooms in late April and May, with short spikes of deep blue-purple flowers that pollinators adore. The foliage is dark, bronzy green, dramatic, and completely evergreen in zones 6 through 9, semi-evergreen in zones 4 and 5. It handles full shade to partial shade, which means it solves one of the hardest problems in the home landscape: the dry, dim area under a mature tree where nothing seems to grow and weeds still somehow find a way. Ajuga finds a way first, and then nothing else can. One important note: it can spread into lawn areas if planted right at the turf edge, so give it a clean edging border or a hard barrier like a sidewalk. Creeping Jenny, specifically the golden variety called Aurea, does something that most ground covers cannot do. It thrives in moist soil. If you have a low spot in your yard that stays wet after rain, a downspout area that never fully dries out, or a pond edge that you have been losing the weed battle around for years, Creeping Jenny is your solution. It spreads by sending out long, trailing stems that root wherever they touch moist soil. The golden chartreuse foliage is luminous, genuinely one of the most striking leaf colors in the plant world, and it brightens shaded wet areas that tend to look dreary, zones 3 through 9. It blooms with small yellow flowers in early summer, but the foliage is really the main event here. In warmer zones, it stays evergreen all winter, which means 12 months of weed suppression without a break. Pacific Northwest gardeners, this one is particularly worth your attention because it handles your wet winters better than almost anything else on this list. Sweet Woodruff is the quiet achiever of the shaded garden. It produces delicate white star-shaped flowers in May, smells faintly of fresh hay when you brush against it, and spreads by underground rhizomes into a soft 6-inch tall carpet that covers ground in deep shade where even Ajuga struggles. Zones 4 through 8. It goes completely dormant in winter in colder zones, which means it does leave the soil briefly exposed from late November through early March. But it comes back so aggressively in spring that it catches up before most weeds can establish. Plant it under deciduous trees and shrubs where spring light reaches the soil before the canopy leafs out. That early light is exactly when Sweet Woodruff wakes up and claims its territory for the season. What state are you gardening in? And what is your United States Department of Agriculture zone? Put it in the comments right now. Even just your state name helps. It helps other gardeners watching this find out which of these plants will work in their specific climate. And it helps me figure out what regional content to make next. Pachysandra is the ground cover that has been reliably solving the shade problem for American homeowners for over 70 years. And yet somehow, people still pay a landscaper $400 to come out and fix the area under their oak tree with mulch that washes away every single spring. Pachysandra does not wash away. It roots, it spreads, it holds. Zones 4 through 8, sometimes zone 9 with afternoon shade. It reaches about 10 inches tall, has attractive, glossy, evergreen foliage, and produces small white flower spikes in early spring, slow to establish in year 1, noticeably denser in year 2, and by year 3, you will genuinely forget it is there because there is nothing to do. No weeding, no replacing, No watering after establishment. Divide the outer edges every few years and replant the divisions to expand your coverage for free. A fully established Pachysandra bed can hold its territory against weeds for 20 to 30 years with zero intervention. Sedum, and specifically the low-growing varieties like Dragon's Blood or Tricolor, handles the opposite problem: dry, sunny, even rocky soil where nothing wants to grow, and weeds somehow still find a way. Dragon's Blood sedum forms a tight, jewel-red mat, only 2 to 3 inches tall, blooms with small pink-red flower clusters in midsummer, and spreads steadily across gravel, rocky slopes, and sandy soil in zones 3 through 9. It is a succulent, meaning it stores water in its leaves, which makes it almost completely impervious to summer drought once it has rooted in. For gardeners in the Southwest, in the high desert, in any area with water restrictions or baking hot slopes that face south or west, Dragon's Blood sedum is one of the most practical plants on this entire list. Break off a small stem, press it onto bare soil, and it will root with almost no encouragement at all. That is as close to free propagation as the plant world offers. Vinca minor, known as periwinkle, is a plant with a complicated reputation that I want to address directly. In the right setting, specifically as a contained ground cover in a managed home garden, it is outstanding. Evergreen, zones 4 through 9, covered in small lavender blue flowers from April through June, spreading steadily by trailing stems that root at the nodes. It handles dry shade beautifully, suppresses weeds aggressively, and once established, requires nothing from you for years at a time. The complication is this. In some states, particularly in the Southeast and parts of the Midwest, Vinca minor can escape cultivated areas and naturalize in woodland edges. Check your local extension office website before planting, particularly if you live adjacent to natural woodland or a creek. If you are in a drier western state or a cold northern zone, this concern is minimal. Plant it, contain it with a hard edge, and enjoy it. Lamb's Ear, the variety Helene von Stein in particular, is the ground cover that your grandchildren will want to touch every single time they visit. The leaves are thick, silver gray, and covered in the softest white fuzz you have ever felt on a plant. It spreads from a central crown into wide, overlapping rosettes that create a dense silver mat about 12 inches tall. Zones 4 through 8. Extremely drought tolerant, extremely deer resistant because deer dislike the texture, and extraordinarily beautiful as a contrast plant next to darker foliage or bright flowers. Helene von Stein was specifically selected because it produces much less of the tall flower spike than the common variety, which means the foliage stays flat and dense all season long rather than opening up gaps when it bolts. Divide the rosettes every 2 to 3 years in early spring, and each division grows into a full new plant within one season. Now take a moment and think about what all 9 of these plants have in common, beyond the obvious fact that they spread and suppress weeds. Every single one of them, once established, asks almost nothing of you. No staking, no deadheading every 3 days, no digging up tender bulbs in fall and storing them in your basement. No starting seeds indoors under grow lights in February. You plant them, you water them through that first summer while they root in, and then you step back. They handle the rest. That is not laziness. That is intelligence. That is understanding that a garden should work for you, not the other way around. The real cost of weeding is not just the money you spend on products. It is the hours on your knees, The hours bent at the waist. The hours of frustration pulling the same plants out of the same spots for the 20th summer in a row. A well-planned ground cover bed gives you those hours back. Every year, permanently. Plant the ground covers, close the gaps, and let the weeds loose for once. Next week, I am going to show you something that might genuinely surprise you. 9 plants that look absolutely perfect at the nursery. Plants with beautiful photos on the tag. Plants that well-meaning neighbors recommend all the time. But plants that are either invasive in multiple states, toxic to pets and grandchildren, or simply impossible to remove once they are established in your yard. Some of them are probably already on your shopping list. Make sure you are subscribed so you do not buy any of them before you watch that video.